Iowa caucuses, which are historically far more conservative than the
Bingo.
country as a whole. He's not giving a speech in Chicago or Memphis or Newark. And the thing about Christie is that, as you say, he could come out and say these exact same things in front of a live audience in Newark, or he could talk about the essential importance of private-public cooperation.
And and listen, set aside Newark or Iowa. Do you remember, the partial government shutdown, where Christie came out and lambasted John Boehner, blamed it on Boehner, got all over Boehner. So this is who this guy is, and I just yeah, I just don't feel good about him.
Yeah, it's Jessica. What do you think about Chris Christie?
Um, I think he's entertaining, like on the radio, like when he's talking to the detractors on the radio and stuff like that. But I really could care less for him.
I don't trust him, dude.
Oh
I,
no.
I, I just don't trust him.
Well, I mean, he's a politician. It's all. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to Housem's point, Jan Brewer,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
John
He's
Kasich, Scott Walker, they would have obviously. You have to be gracious to the president when he comes to your state during or for whatever reason,
well to
let
me
alone a
it's
next. But the way Christie behaved was embarrassing, and again, particularly a week or whatever from the election, just unforgivable in my opinion.
well to me it's like he's a Republican for New Jersey. you
I
know.
get that part again
Yeah.
because you got to work with the Democrat Congress. But coming out and slamming Housem, Housem has lots of reasons, valid to be slammed, but slamming Boehner, yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So no, go ahead.
No,
I,
that's fine. I was
I,
just saying I don't care for him either, so we're good.
Housem. Did you see who Crowdhammer? There are a lot of people that I admire. Both of us, Thomas Sowell, just and down the list. But Charles Crowdhammer is one of them. The guy is of great intellect. I do not necessarily always agree with him, but I would say probably 95%. But did you see who Dr. Crowdhammer predicted will win the Republican nomination?
Oh my gosh, no.
Let's see. Let's do a multiple choice here. A. Mitt Romney, B. Marco Rubio, C. Ted Cruz, D. Scott Walker.
So Crowdhammer suggested that one of those right there will win the nomination.
Predicted, yes.
Um, who do I think Cruz,
No,
Romney.
no. Marco Rubio.
Really?
That surprised me. Now, that is not to suggest that Crowdhammer, who again to me is an absolute genius, agrees. In fact, I know
Oh,
he
right.
does.
He's not supporting that. He's just saying that who he thinks
He's
will do it.
looking at. It may be a little bit about a little bit about what we've talked about before. Where someone who may be a bit of a dark horse, as has happened from Bill Clinton, well, from Jimmy Carter to Bill Clinton to Barack Obama in the early days of their candidacy. Marco, lambasted by the right, the whole Gang of Eight thing, and caving in, well, being had, if you will, in that, in the strictest definition of being had, by the way, being had by the Democrats on the whole immigration reform thing. Not that position of his, not particularly popular on conservatives. But yeah, Crowdhammer's just kind of surveying the land and thinking that Marco is going to win this whole thing.
Wow, that's interesting. You know what? Obviously, it's incredibly important that he has a glass of water close by when he's
Yeah,
giving
that's
any kind of
yeah,
speech.
yeah.
Um, but you know what? When I listen to Rubio speak, man, I think he is, I like that he's young. He's got an interesting immigration story. I love that he was a Tea Party guy that kicked, what's his name, Turncoat's ass. What was the guy's name who just
Oh,
lost?
gosh darn it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
I do know who you're talking about.
I love a lot of the. I mean, I think that there's a lot of good reasons to like. Now, Jess, you're in Florida. Um, One criticism I've heard about Rubio as well is that the Cuban connection doesn't necessarily translate to South American based Hispanics. What's your thoughts of Rubio being there in the state?
Well, that's true. The whole thing with the Cubans are they're kind of separated from like the rest of Latin America for some reason. I don't know. It's just something that happens. As far as him as a politician, I was okay with him. Like as far as when he ran the for Senate, I really lost a lot of I guess support for him when he was going along with the crazy immigration stuff they were doing, and
Right.
also the NDAA stuff. He wanted to do all of that, and I was like, okay, well, you're just like the rest of them at that point. So that's my feelings on him.
And I think you're spot on. How's him when like I said, when I saw Christie's acceptance speech the first time, I just was kind of enamored with the guy. Same thing with Rubio when he won the Senate seat. He's articulate. He's just like the whole thing, next generation and the whatever. And yes, he did get played in the immigration thing by the Democrats, but I think maybe lost in the shuffle of all the other news. When Obama, again, wielded the pen and unilaterally, for all intents and purposes, normalized relations with Cuba, Rubio jumped all over that and came out very strongly against that. Now, I happen to believe that that should happen in some form, normalization, but there should be concessions in terms of reform in Cuba. But setting that aside, I think that plays well. The fact that he did that. Jessica, what do you think about that as it relates to Florida?
Yes, I do think that that plays well. Again, the whole Um, at least from what I've been seeing lately, it's just been more. There's a lot more of all of other Latin America now, so I don't know how well that will translate in the future for actual votes in the next time around. But I think that it does help bolster his credibility, especially in the Miami area.
Miami
Well,
being, go ahead, Michael.
no, I was just going to say that's important. And again, um, I'm most interested in winning. You know, um,
Exactly.
I mean that part. I don't like the fact that he's a relatively recent senator. I mean, God, we just did that. You
We
know,
did.
and frankly, from a political standpoint, I prefer, I'd prefer, um, not political positions, but the politicking aspect, the
Mm-hmm.
framing the narrative.
Right.
I'd prefer a Christie to a Rubio because inevitably, at least I think it's going to be Biden, Hillary, or Pocahontas, none of which have ever been a governor. And I just think that that is that clear line of demarcation will be, if used correctly, a big winner for Republicans.
I think you're exactly right, dude. Because historically, I think it can be proved, or at least supported, the fact that governors who have run things, as opposed to senators and congressmen and whomever who have not, have done fairly well. And exactly to your other point, and this is where the illogical logic, if you will, of the dopey ass conservatives. All right, I say dopey ass liberals all the time, but the dopey ass conservatives, in excess of 3 million of them, who sat out 2012 election because Mitt Romney wasn't conservative enough. Okay, so on a question, you got 10 questions, and you ask them, various conservative questions, Romney versus Obama, who got the most of them right? Okay, so you're going to pout and not show up and let Barack Obama get reelected. I have never understood that logic.
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
but I think it would happen
Absolutely.
again with Christie for sure. I think or he would do something like he did in that last election that will throw it off again. Like, I don't know.
See, you guys, what I think here's part of what scares me about him, and it's probably what scares. Listen, Biden doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell, but what scares the left about people like Biden is like every time they speak, okay, they're giving a speech or they're being interviewed and it's off the cuff, that sooner or later they're going to do something or say something like really stupid and devastating. That's Chris Christie on the right. And I think Marco Rubio is so measured and he thinks before he talks. I don't think he would implode, where I think there is the potential possibly for Christie to do that. So that's kind of just me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right. Well, anyway, like we said before, dude, they need to all, one by one. I mean, we're going to line up the schedule. Jessica can line up the schedule. We need to have them on. They need to make their case to us, and then we need to then say, all right, we'll be right back. And then we play like the Jeopardy music, Final Jeopardy. And then we come back and we say, dude, it's not going to work. Go home. So I think we could save the country a lot of trouble. We could save hundreds of millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of hours of collective time for all of these people if they would just come here and let you and me kind of sort the whole thing out.
Yep, that would be a great public service, let me say.
See, Hausum and I are all about public service. Gratis, by the way.
It's caring is what it is.
That's exactly what we are. Hashtag caring.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's going to be fun to watch,
Oh my gosh, it is going to be so fun to watch.
And dude, it is a strong field.
Yeah. It's going to be yeah, I don't know.
So what would you prefer? Okay, we're kind of wrapping up here. Like on the Dem side, would you rather have Hillary be ordained finally, as the rightful nominee, was expected to happen in 2008, and then have her get her ass kicked, or would you rather have Pocahontas beat her in the primaries? I still think she's going to run, by the way. And humiliate her further, as was the case in 2008. I mean, if you could kind of paint that scenario, which one would you prefer?
Oh my God, I would love to see just to see the meltdown that Hillary would have. I would want to see Pocahontas get the freaking nomination.
Oh my God, could you imagine
that
how fun
would just be gold right there. I don't know.
I just see that's you guys. I think we're 3 for 3 because that would be hilarious, because this dude comes out of the streets of Chicago. He's a senator for 15 minutes. He votes present every opportunity he gets, and he steals my rightful crown. And then to have that happen all over again with Pocahontas, that would be, Michael, as you said, gold. That would just be, dude, that would be perfect.
I think she would have a freaking aneurysm.
Wait, go ahead, Jess, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was saying I would think she would have an aneurysm like right there.
Oh my gosh, because at some point, somebody somewhere is going to capture a statement or a video of her just like, I can't believe I'm not getting it.
And that would be the final, we've talked about this before. There's so many Democrats that just wish the Clintons would ride the hell off into the sunset, never to be heard from again. That would be that moment.
Yeah, that would exactly be that moment.
Dude, we're under a minute, and you got to kind of wrap us up and then take us out of here.
All right, so we talked about, I think, Mike, we may have hit more topics today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We hit 15 different things today. That may be a record for us, by the way.
Go figure, man.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Folks, thanks for listening. This is Michael Hausum for Mike Miller. You have been listening to The Right Mics. We will be back in 22 and a half hours. Check therightmics.us a little bit later this evening, and all these links will be up. Have a great evening. We'll talk with you tomorrow.
This show is produced by IJReview.com.